Hello and good morning, my friends. Happy Friday. I couldn't wait another day to get back to working on my Oracle deck. I am having so much fun with this project. And what I want to do today is to just prep some backgrounds, kind of like I did a couple of days ago, but I want to have more cards ready to go with some texture and some layers by creating these underpaintings, if you will. It helps give more richness and visual interest to what it is that we're working on. So if you're brand new to painting in your PJs with Minette, welcome. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan. And I'm here a few mornings a week at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Oh, look, there's a pretty butterfly sticker that might end up on a card somewhere. And I am passionate about helping women in midlife reconnect to their creativity, their sense of purpose, and really use art to find themselves again. So much of midlife has this really kind of sunk in a murky middle, right? And we can't see always possibilities and decisions and directions in the same way that we used to be able to. And I think creative play and process is a powerful way to do that. Good morning, Leslie. Thanks for being here with me today. And throughout the month of August, I've decided to work on an oracle deck it's not really going to be an oracle deck. I haven't decided what to call it, but sort of a set of story cards or visual prompts. Each one of these will ultimately have words on them. I've created three of them so far. Good morning, Tori. Driving to Kansas to visit 98-year-old mother-in-law, so just going to watch. Awesome. Thank you. I'm having so much fun with these. So I added some more to this one after the call. Always after I let them sit, I can see, where they need a little more oomph added to them. And that was the very first one I did. So loving the style, the color, the palette. When I started this one, I didn't know where she was going, but I ended up loving her. I think I still need some color and decoration on the dragonfly here to make that dragonfly pop out, but I kind of like the shadowy white a little bit too, but really was happy with how her face came out at the end of the day. So I am, three cards into what I want to be. Right now I have a list of 32 concepts that are important aspects of midlife. Good morning, Yvonne. And so, that's what I'm thinking about, and I'm going to figure out the words later. Kind of like that butterfly. It's going to end up somewhere. And I wanted to get the painting style down first, and then if I need to switch gears and kind of paint more in a more directed fashion around concepts, I can do that. But first, I felt like painting faces is hard for me. I don't have sort of a face style, so you can see I'm really playing with some different looks, but they feel the same because I've been really committed to the same palette so far. So those are the three that I've done already. And then this morning I spent some more time. I think this is such an important part of the journey, is just practicing drawing faces. This is the second morning. So these were ones I drew before. Let me zoom my camera out a little bit. That's better. And so I sat down again this morning and just drew more faces, different styles. Thank you. Me too, Yvonne. I'm having so much fun. And I definitely want some variety in types of faces. I want the style to feel the same, but I want to have different shapes of faces. I want to have different cultural faces so I'm really stretching and looking at how can I create a big variety of faces. And this practice is helping me a ton so that by the time that I sit down to actually make an actual card, then I have some guidance, right? And I have some different ones I've done. I'm like, okay, that's not it. These like super crazy abstracts, I don't think are going to be the way to go. So these two I've done, and I used a version of that one. But, I'm playing again with different styles, faces, shapes of faces, colors of skin, although all the colors are kind of abstract, but that's kind of, I spent probably over an hour this morning, doing research into faces and looking at different images and faces, and I love that part of the practice. And then I got outside for my walk, and on my walk, I lost my mailbox key because I was going to check the mail on my way home. So then my husband and I rode the route that I walked and did not find the mailbox key. So that'll be an interesting challenge to figure out today. So I used the leftover paint on my palette yesterday to just get some backgrounds going. I never like to waste paint, and I'm trying something new. I'm recording this on my phone also, so I just want to see how these are lined up on my phone so that we can use them on Instagram and make some shorts and other things out of them. But I gotta trying to get it lined up so it shows on both cameras is a bit of an adventure, so it might end up looking a little bit wonky. So bear with me as I just kind of play with the tech a little bit on my phone. That's not quite working the way that I wanted to. Well, it is what it is. So I want to be able to see it on the phone and on here. I did, and they go really fast, Tori, and I think the drawing part is fun, and I want each of them to be a little bit different, but if I can come up with some sort of common ones, then I can also make different versions of the same style of faces. So I'm going to start with my beloved oil pastels here and do as if I would if I were working on canvas or an art journal page, and I just want to get some marks and texture going on these guys. I'm not going to see this later, but there's something about creating these underlayers that for me is where a lot of the magic of the creativity happens. And it creates a richness in our paintings because I could, and I'm probably going to try that too to see what happens, but I could just draw the faces and paint them onto the white, and I think that would be a great experiment to try as well. It certainly would be easier to draw on, and this one yesterday I ended up painting white over the painty background, and it kind of gave me some, different pops of colors than these other ones so far. So let's just see where we can get to today. And I want to do a couple of sets of these so that I can have more fun with the faces. And actually, it's really fun for me to paint the painty background, so I shouldn't say that it isn't fun. But one of the things that I've also found about getting started this way is that preparation, like whether you're working in a journal or a deck of cards, that when you prepare ahead of time some of your painty pages, get some marks, images, color, collage down on them, that then when I'm ready to sit down and have a little more leisure time, that I already have something going, right? And I don't have to, I can speed the process up, I think is what I want to say. And I'm all about speed. The more I can speed the process up, the better. I don't think I'm looking for a bright color. This is like a half box. I'm missing my, I love the yellow oil pastels, and they must be in another box. So again, no rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to make these pretty. I'm just trying to get some marks down on the page. So I've done a few here with painty backgrounds, and I'm going to add stencils to these as well with Kelly Wynn's fun new stencils from A Work of Heart Studio. But I also want to start with some just white ones. I'm pretty sure I gessoed all of these, but some of the backgrounds I'm like, I'm not sure I got both sides of them. So making sure I get my gessoed side. Move those up on the screen. So these I'm going to start with the oil pastel. And I think I'm just going to be a little more scribbly and loose. That's why I'm holding them together this way, because it's fun to sort of create across all of them. I think that was one of the things that I originally learned from Seth Leslie in that class you took, because I took that deck of cards class um, online with him years and years ago. It was one of my first ever mixed media classes, and I remember having so much fun with that class. And I've also purchased the fun Allie and Kate's Zen book class, which I won't have time to look at this week because it's Mythical Makeover Week, but I'm super excited about shopping for those supplies and getting started. I'm fascinated by the Sachiko's stitching styles. So, and stitching is a great thing to do in the car. So, next week on Wednesday, we are going to Yellowstone with my daughter and her partner. We're meeting him in Yellowstone. He's working this summer in Montana. So next week I'll be here on Monday and Tuesday, but then I'll be off the rest of the week. And so I'm thinking about what are those sort of portable projects that I want to take along. And stitching is a great one. In fact, Maggie brought me a really cute embroidery kit with a cat in some rainbow colors as a gift that I might take along. And I have a few other stitching projects, but I can also take some of these cards along. If I have the backgrounds prepped, I could take cards along and be working on the faces on the road, although I don't know that I'll have that much time. So normally when I travel, I take my sacred circles along because it's easy to color, it's very portable, and I can tangle them using Zentangle, or I can okay, that's enough. I'm having so much fun coloring. I don't want to stop. And I can tangle them or I can color them, and they're portable and they don't take a lot of supplies. The same with stitching, right? It's easy to put together a kit, so I don't usually travel with my full mixed media arsenal of supplies. I like to travel pretty light. And okay, time for some paint. And watercolors. I also will travel with watercolors because they tend to be super portable. Let's get our palette here. I'm just trying to keep these together so that they're, showing up in the screen a little bit easier, and I can just work my way across all of them at once. And let me grab a stack of stencils here. This was a Wendy Solganic one from the Bookmaker Collective that I loved. This is one of Kelly Wynn's, and I love these shapes that she created, and they're all meant to be kind of stacked and layered. I can't wait to do some gel printing with them. I think they'll be super fun for some gel printing, and there's a couple of them that I really, really love. I can't remember how many are in the set. There's quite a few in the set. So that gives me enough to get started with. And I am going to stick with my palette. Awesome Tori. I love it. Like sacred circles and stitching, like such easy portable things to do. So I've got my beloved turquoise blue here. Some quinacridone magenta. And I might use a little of the azo yellow for an underlayer and see how it might mix with some of those other colors. So we'll see where we get to. And I'm going to start with some of these fun flowers here. And let's just put some yellow underneath. Get a few, some of that brights. With acrylics, it's always interesting to start with the brights underneath because then I won't clean off my makeup sponge. I'm going to go grab some of this magenta and we'll start to layer up probably some orange. Let's try this little tiny one and see what we think. I'm going to let those colors all mix together. There's something about the mixed media process for me that is incredibly relaxing, just like zentangle, just like coloring sacred circles, all processes that have that same effect on me, which is it feels like play. It calms my brain down. It's been a very busy week, so this felt like I don't have to think too hard about this. I just need kind of a direction to go here and something to do this morning. So this feels like I'm making progress on my deck. I'm having fun. And I'm prepping these for later. Whether I ever see any of these backgrounds or not is, really not the issue. But also what I love about mixed media is it's like we're pouring story into each of these layers. So it's already been a chaotic morning. I lost the mailbox key, right? So, it's time. It's like, okay, Minette, it's time for just a little play and relaxation time, right? And just, everything's going to be fine. I'll go to the post office today and I have plenty of time to do that and figure out what needs to happen. And that magenta and that turquoise blue make the most beautiful shades of purple. So I'm getting some really gorgeous purple happening here. All right, so I have enough paint on those, and I can guarantee you that these are going to end up with a layer of gesso over the top of them before I draw faces on them. So let's move those puppies out of the way. And let's come back over here to look at some of these and where I might want to go next. That one's really pretty all by itself. Remember, any of these could be photographed and used as to make collage paper, but I'm loving the colors on that one. This one feels like it needs some darker colors. That's a different blue in the background. It's not my blue that I was using. Let's grab another one of these. How about some polka dots? Can never have too many polka dots. Just exactly what it needed. Okay, polka dots are fun, so let's come and see if we can get some. And you notice I'm not changing out my sponge, so my sponge is getting really dirty and covered in paint, which is totally fine. But I am going to switch sponges now because I'm thinking I want to brighten these two up. They're darker with maybe some of these fun crosses and get some yellow going here. So I'm going to snip off the tip of that makeup sponge because there's plenty of usable sponge there. All right, we're getting some green. I might need to do some white on these, but let's see if we can clean a little of that green off and get a little more of that pure yellow. And that yellow may not show over the black. I may need to do some white first if I really want these colors to pop out. How's everybody else doing this morning? What kind of fun projects are you working on? Tori's in the car. What else is going on with you guys? Looking forward to fun weekend ahead. So I'm teaching all day tomorrow, but Sunday we're going to go up to Estes Park to see my mom and stepdad. Get barbecue from our favorite barbecue place, so lots of fun things to look forward to. So 8 backgrounds feels like plenty to play with and get me started. So I'm going to go ahead and get going on one more face. I probably won't finish it. I probably won't stay a full hour today. I don't know why this one is really speaking to me, but definitely it's on the darker side, and I'm not quite ready to let go of the dark. So I am going to find, let's see, this is a gray chalk pencil. That looks like it's going to work. I'm going to get this super dry I'm going to pick one of my faces and I'm going to start adding a face on here. And I'm going to zoom back in on, pardon me while I get blurry for just a minute. There we go. And I could make this a really silly face because I've got some eyes here and some eyes here, and then her nose would kind of fall here, but I'm not sure I want that abstract of a face, so I put my journal down somewhere. I did, I really did. Oh, I knew I had some other painty ones. I also have some solid ones from using up leftover paint that I could try just going right from a solid background. So this is still, this first week or two feels like it's just a lot of experimentation time. So I really loved this little character here with the glasses and the big hair. So I think I'm going to work on her. Oops, things are falling out of my journal. All these little, one of my friends when I was in Philadelphia gave me all these gorgeous little stamps. Look at that beautiful hawk stamp, and they're in a pocket in my journal because that's the journal I took. So, a stamp might be really fun on these. I haven't done any collage on any of them yet, but maybe it wasn't a mistake that just flew out of my journal at me. So I really love, I'm just trying to move. I have all these wet things everywhere now, so I'm trying to move things around without making a humongous mess. And I want to kind of use her as a guide here. Trying to get where I can see everything I want to see. All right, doesn't matter. So what I remember is that when I was drawing her, I only drew sort of half of her face. And I know that's probably hard for you guys to see. I don't know what's happened. I have a million white chalk pencils. Oh, here's a China marker. Let's see if that'll work better. Much better. And that'll be kind of fun to paint over. We'll see what happens. And so she has kind of a nice scoop neck here. And that little string's going to drive me crazy unless I cut it off. In the way of everything. All right. And what I loved was just kind of her crazy, wild, curly hair. I always find hair is so fun. I think I like that she had glasses because, I wear glasses. And again, all my noses have been kind of these little bit wider noses. I'm not going to be able to get a lot of detail using this big pencil. And apparently some of that paint was still wet there. Let's get some nice big glasses going. So we'll at least get the shape and the dimension down. We've got her eyebrows up here, which is going to move her hair up there. And kind of a luscious mouth. So again, it's just about getting those basic shapes down and then seeing where I can go from there with my colors and my chosen palette. So I'm going to get some white on my palette. Maybe a tiny bit of black. I haven't really been using any black for my darks except for the poscas. We'll do a little more blue and touch more magenta. I don't need a lot of paint for this, but when we start mixing colors, we had that conversation a couple of days ago about making sure that we've mixed enough, And I'm going to be working with some pretty small brushes here for these detail areas. And I'm kind of almost liking the magenta of her face is kind of fun. So I think I'm going to start with maybe painting out the background and see what pops afterwards. And I kind of like this little bit of a more purpley color. So I'm going to mix up just a little bit more purple here. I've definitely been enjoying and some of this will become hair later, but for now I want to be able to see more of the shape of her face and make different decisions about where to go. Make sure we get kind of a nice even shape to her. And then once I did that, I'm like, okay, this is like way too busy, so it needs to get calmed down quite a bit, but maybe not lose everything. I'm okay if I lose any of the features or anything. This is again just that sort of initial placement play. Got to have somewhere to start. So I'm almost thinking coming in the opposite of purple would be the yellow. So maybe I'm going to do something really crazy and start with some yellow. I want her to have a little neckline there. Still see a little bit of those marks and the texture and the shape underneath. I can still see some of that here as well. So it's a start, right? It's, I'm not trying to, like yesterday, it took me a long time to get to that final destination. I can still see some of the shapes of glasses and where I put her mouth. And I'm looking kind of at the shape of the face here. And did I get the shape of the face the way I want it? And it's a start, and I'm almost feeling like I want to paint her hair next. And what if we got a little crazy with some orange hair? Maybe she's a redhead. We'll just give her a little bit of crazy hair. Using the brush strokes to maybe kind of give some of that, illusion of curly hair. Again, I'm able to see all those colors underneath. We got a little bit of a glare there on that wet paint. It's amazing how adding hair just changes it all of a sudden, right? Makes everything stand out. So that's just the first layer of the hair. And I am curious to explore as I continue on this process if I get faster as I go, or if it really is just kind of card by card, that some of them are going to take longer, some of them are going to go faster. All right, I think I'm going to come in with the black now and just commit to drawing her face so that I can see where I'm going. I'm loving all the undercolors. I'm loving some of the subtlety of this one. It's starting to look different, but it's the marks at the end that will give it kind of the commonality with the other pages. And yesterday I really liked when I used the baby wipe to push some of that color back. And I think this may be too dark, but it created an interesting texture that I really liked. It kind of over this one, oh, it's because I put the white paint down first. It just created this cool crackly effect that was kind of fun. So I'm like, okay, that didn't quite work here today. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I'm going to get this really dry, and then I'm going to draw the face with the posca markers. And that might be it for today, and I might let her sit and then I'll continue to work on her as I have some free time. Making sure I get all of that paint really dry before I get any pen marks going on here. And I'm wondering if I can find one of my really fine tip black poscas. I have a couple of big black chunky ones, but I think I'm wanting something definitely. Here's one of my, I love permapakes, are one of my favorites for drawing. Okay, that one is good. It's a little old. So when I look at her, one of the things I loved about the sketchy style was the lines of her hair around her face that kind of really gave us that, sense of some just wild curly hair. So I want to bring some of that texture back to her hair. And I'll work more with more paint, more color, continue to do some of the color blocking I've been doing to pop that out even a little bit more, but I want to give that sense of kind of some wild, crazy hair. And then I'm kind of using that China marker to guide me a little bit. And then her glasses are right across the top of her nose and all the way over to the edge of her face here. That China marker is popping through and the ink does not want to go over that China marker very well, so something to notice. And I'm thinking her glasses should be a really crazy fun pop of color. Maybe she needs some purple glasses to match the background, but right now we're just trying to get, again, features and shapes. A lot of these lines may get, completely painted out or not. We'll see. Might be a little tricky. I might have to add a little paint in here over those China markers. But I'm going to get the shape of her mouth. I don't want to put detail into her mouth. That wild, it does look like your wild crazy hair, Tori, your gorgeous wild crazy hair. I also want to make sure that these lines across here are even. So this one, we get them all the same size. Okay, my permapaque is about dead, plus I probably got a little bit of that China marker on there, but it's fine for this. If her hair was blonde, Tori, she would look like you without the glasses. I love crazy curly hair. Blanca, I don't think she's here today, but she has beautiful, lots of full curly hair as well. Okay. All right, so now I can kind of see where I'm going, and now I really love that I pushed that yellow back and we've got some spots and some different bits of color. Still didn't get her glasses quite right. That permapaque is permanent, but because it's over the top of that China marker, yes, I was able to just wipe that right away, which is great. So I feel like now I can come back and make sure that I want to get the bottom of the glasses here and the height of the glasses here. So even though these are meant to be sort of, pop arty, a little bit abstract, I do like symmetry. So I definitely want to make sure that we get that in the right place. Let's try this one. Much better. And her hair is over the edge of her glasses there, right? And so now I can also come back in and clean up around this one just a little bit. And make sure we get these going in the same direction. Close enough, so now it's wet, right? My markers are not happy with me. I have boxes and boxes of full of markers, and at some point, it's time to definitely go through them all and see what's still working and what's not. And so I love we can see, a big eyes in here. And what I need is a fine tip black marker that's not water soluble. Again, even if, some of this gets painted over, that's fine, but it gives me a direction. Again, it's, I think I said yesterday, it's almost like I'm making my own coloring pages. So she's got some kind of crazy big eyes there. And I think I want to be able to see a little more of her eye, and then she probably won't look quite so crazy. So again, just guidelines, right? And so now all of a sudden she's coming together. She's cute. It's a great beginning. And I'm thinking it would be fun to get a series of them, to this point of this sort of beginning sketchy stage, that I can work on these in series in this way. And it's so fun and easy to just want to get, caught up in the detail part. That is the most fun part for me, but it's also the part that takes time. So for today, my thought was, okay, how can I be in preparation and practice, right? How can I be in preparation and practice? So that one feels like I've got it far enough along, and I have a whole bunch of paint over here on my palette that I want to use up. So I'm like, okay, do I keep painting on this one or do I start another one? And I'm going to trust my intuition that I just need to set her aside for a little bit, and I'm going to try something completely different. And I'm going to draw this one, but I'm wondering what's going to happen if I start with the white. And this is a General's sketch and wash pencil. These are really fun. They're just, you can't see, it's too glary. They're just slightly water soluble, but they're kind of fun to draw with. So I love her. She has a very, very round face. And she has some kind of flowy hair going. And then she had this fun little flower in her hair. So all of these are just inspired by, things that I've seen online and have used as inspiration, but then am committed to really making them my own. And we might have more of her on this one because her head's a little smaller. But I loved the just kind of that roundness of her cheeks. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my guidelines in here, knowing this is all going to get painted out. So her eyes are actually probably on the top here. She has kind of nice wide eyes. And the eyes end up getting, painted over multiple times. So I'm not worried again at all about details at the moment. Again, I'm liking these kind of squarish noses and just big full mouth. Might need to give her a little bit more of a face and some eyebrows. And so now, and her neck is like way too wide. So bring that neck in. And bring that hair in. So knowing this is water soluble, I'm curious what's going to happen because everything's an experiment. What did I do with there's my little brush. If I come right over the top of this with some paint, Is it going to wash that black out? Am I still going to be able to see those lines? And again, here I'm just using up the paint on my palette. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get that peach too painty. And there's something about just painting over the white that's so different, like it doesn't have that richness of the layers underneath. But I wanted to just see what would happen if I started this way. I don't know unless I try. Put a little bit of paint. And I said I was going to be quick this morning, but clearly I can't stop this morning. And we're going to need a little bit of fleshy color to get us going on her face. And I'm just playing with color until I get something that looks interesting. Again, it's probably just that base color. I'm noticing even the way that the paint goes on. All right, so I'm going to just paint over the whole face and we'll bring her face back. I can still see some of those lines under there, but I want to just get some paint. The paint doesn't go on as nice in that very first layer, so it's those, and that the Sketch and Wash pencil is completely disappearing, which is good. All right, I'm thinking maybe this one's going to have some crazy green hair, and that we can use up some of all that nice fun texture first. And did the sound come back? I think I accidentally hit my mute button. Let me know if you can hear me now. Awesome. Is it still cutting out a bit? Or does it sound better? I think I just hit the little button on my microphone. So I notice, I can scratch through to the background. The paint isn't on as smooth. All good. Thank you. All right. So there's something started there that's fun, interesting. Not sure where it's going. Definitely needs a lot more layers to create that kind of more textured look that I love. So I'm just going to play with some of the extra paint on my palette and I'm going to create those layers up from here and see what happens. I'm going to let her face just stay blank for now. But it's so funny, the way the paint goes on this first layer, it's very patchy and sketchy. It does not have the texture and look and feel that I like at all. So I'm like, okay, that is not going to be the path forward. They're all going to need to have painty backgrounds first. So that was a good learning. And I don't know how many layers it would take to get it to where I like it. Plus then I end up with, weird white spaces. So I'll make this one work, and we'll see if it ends up looking too different from all the other ones. I don't know if it will or not. Um, that wet paint is so glary. So if we move that over here, there we go. If we just move that over a little bit, we get out of the glare. But that was great progress today for this session. You're so welcome. That's part of the point of all of this, right? It's like, let me do all the testing and make all the mistakes, and it also has a lot to do with the substrate that you're working on, right? So, but we made some good progress today. Didn't finish anything, but we got a lot of fun painty backgrounds here, and created some real estate ready to go, did some fun testing to decide, what we liked and what we didn't like. And I definitely like the interest and the texture of working on a painty background. Even though I gessoed the cards, I think some of that, just the texture, glossy texture of the cards was coming through a little bit. So it's a great start. Lots of work in progress. And that's it for now. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Tori, you guys drive safely. And I will see you guys all bright and early on Monday morning. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.